Hello there, crack book. This is my diary for the evening from today and the weekend. I don't really know how I feel about crack book anymore. I can't wait until I've got to where I need to get to, and it will all make some sense to some people. But obviously, here in Portsmouth, it's a victorious weekend. And Dean is in Spain doing his art stuff and his gallery stuff. Um, and Victorious is something that has been quite a prolific thing for me, Dean, and our family, on whether or not Dean would be performing on stage. So, and I find Portsmouth very, 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 very difficult with two little children because I've always lived in the country. I've never lived in the city before. So I find country living and city living two very, very, very different things when you've got two little children. We didn't make it out yesterday as I had hoped to do. So if you've seen loads of victorious events coming up, I haven't been at these events. I had everything all ready to put all in for when we were going to be networking if Dean had been here this weekend or even in Maria. And so all of these events that it says that I've been at like for the last 2 days, I haven't actually been out. So it's been quite stressful just even wondering how I was going to pull this weekend off with the boys because they they're so sociable. They're just two sociable boys. But I needed to go and have a bit of a chat with Professor Green today, and I was hoping to catch up with Rudimental because I feel that for me, Rudimental really helped me through what happened with Aaron and Faith. There was one particular video in Rudimental's album where somebody has an accident and loses his leg, and he's got to get back on his bike again. And it takes to have really, really, really good friends around you to be able to achieve something that's against all the odds. And that sort of always kept me going, that hopefully one day I may have people around me who actually care enough to help me fulfill a couple of these things that I'm battling with my EDS. So I decided to still go today, but because I'm trying to get everything done to make sure literally next week I can be writing, I felt really guilty about going out when I've got stuff to do here. And the boys' sleeping patterns have started to change a bit. And Elijah's been sort of falling asleep at about 3, and it's been a bit difficult because he got Shiloh going to sleep at 12:30 and then waking up and Elijah going to sleep at 3. So, I mean, obviously you won't understand what victorious means to our family or what it's about or anything like that or how this works. So anyway, I decided to go down tonight and network with the guys and catch up with the people that I've been building this rapport and network with for the aims of Dean performing at Victorious. And I mean, they love Elijah and Shiloh down there. They do. I know the guys because it's the same security teams and it's the same teams because it's Portsmouth Council that put on all of these events. So they pretty much employ the same people all the time. So you get to see the same faces, same names. I mean, I've been here 4 years now. So even though it's a city, there's a lot of infrastructure here, and then obviously a lot of coming and going, so you get to know sort of the main people. And what was quite interesting is in the years that I've been here networking for Step Up and getting this event together, and why I keep going on about, God, I could, if I had the tools, if I had the equipment, blah, 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 blah. I mean, even the event this weekend's probably cost 2-3 million to put on. I don't have 2-3 million to put an event on, do you know what I mean? But I'm going through a lot of things at the moment because I'm obviously I'm in my paperwork, so I'm going through a lot of that, and I'm dealing with a lot of that, and dealing with the fact that I'm still here in Portsmouth with family matters and stuff like that. Hey, Amal. And but tonight, I don't know. It was just. I mean, okay, I don't know how people feel about this whole white feather thing and angels and stuff. It's not something I'm into. But seriously, these white fucking feathers throwing at me is getting beyond a joke now. I am walking through doors and having white feathers falling in front of me. I am having cars moving past me and white feathers flicking out at me. I'm crossing roads and white feathers getting pulled into my buggy. And for anybody who knows what some people believe white feathers about, there's three types of feathers. Obviously, I live in a place where there's lots of birds anyway, so feathers can just turn up anyway. But if you actually Google and have a look at the meaning behind a white feather, there are people that believe that the spirit world communicates with us in such a way that an angel will leave a white feather, and a white feather just basically says, look, I know you can't see it, but we've got it, it's coming together, it's okay, everything's okay. A grey feather tends, in these meanings, this is not something I'm here to teach, it's not part of my beliefs, maybe one day it will be, who knows. A grey feather is, look, it's in hand, but it isn't quite happening. White feathers is meant to mean, that's it, the Lord is telling you the time's now. Because a lot of people who don't really understand a lot of having a vision and spiritual stuff and going through trials and tribulations and tests and all this sort of stuff, most people don't understand this stuff, and they just go through life feeling really frustrated, or just doing the best that they can to get by. But I did a bit more research, I think it was last year or something, on these feather things, and I thought, oh, you know what, I'm getting out of all of this new agey stuff, I can't be arsed with it. But as I said the other day, this isn't the healing thing, but this is all part of it. Little things trigger me off, right? Little things trigger me. I can cope with big things, but little things trigger me. And one thing that annoys me here, everything annoys me, but one thing that annoys me here is when I first got here, because we were interim, I wasn't allowed a parking permit, right? And I've always had a disability parking badge. So obviously that's amazing with, like, say, paying for parking, all that sort of stuff. But also, when you actually really do have a physical condition, it's really easier. It's so much easier to have parking. But anyway, over this whole campaigning thing, I've racked up so many parking tickets. Like, I'll get parking tickets left, right, and centre. And I have one of the only free parking places that they're trying to take up. They've just barred my car in and put bars around it yesterday. And it's a bit of a catch-22, because it's not actually a place that they can give you parking tickets, but it isn't a place that they can't give you parking tickets. So occasionally a parking ticket turns up and occasionally it doesn't. They're not actually allowed to give me a parking ticket where it is, because it's not an official. It's about one of the only spaces that exists. In fact, I had the only space last time. It was over this side of the road, and they ended up building a proper car park there. And they're going to barricade this one up, because I keep finding these little things. It's like £1.80 an hour to park here in Portsmouth. So, it's like 12 quid for a day. Obviously, residents and stuff like that. But trying to juggle the way this finances work. And the reason that I talk about my finances, by the way, is because I'm going through this to prove to you that there is a gap that is going to crash people. I'm in it right now. And if I don't move something, literally, I would be facing the amount of people who've been illegally put over onto universal credits, where the majority of them have either taken their own lives, have ended up into horrendous eviction situations, or ultimately are in food banks and stuff like that. I'm just strong enough to be able to show you where these challenges are. I'm not here to go, hey, feel sorry for me. I'm here to go, this is a fucking really crappy situation, mate. And this is how it's going so wrong and why it's going so wrong. And I've been trying to tell people all this time, you know, even before Aaron and Faith were taken, that when these changes were implemented, there was such a gap in it that, you know, if they didn't put people onto the new system and then take them off the old, that this gap was too horrendous, and within 3 months people were going to slide very, very dramatically. And that slide has now occurred on me, to the point now that I've done my shopping today, and that has now eaten into my rent money. So it's either rent or food now. It's as simple as that. They've cut me down by a further £200 as well. So I have to get control of this situation. I'll have the appeals in. I'll have all the processes in. But next week I am literally 100% focusing only on being out and about with the boys, doing what we're doing. Occasionally I might put a post out here to say, look, deadline for the children social care inquiry is the 30th of August. So I'm going to keep saying to you, that is the deadline. I'm trying to get the deadline extended. I'm trying to push to get this extended so they can all come back on the 3rd of September, and they can publicly put this out to the public to say that there is an inquiry into children's social care. So many things are coming out today. Prince Andrew has released his statement, so for the media tomorrow, that will all go out. I think Twitter's got some of it already that's going out. He's saying that he's standing by that isn't the lifestyle that his friend Epstein has. I don't think any of us are ever going to really ever truly know the truth on a lot of this stuff, because until it gets to a point where people are physically caught in the act of doing this stuff and there is actual evidence. I mean, one of the problems is, I mean, even in the same with disclosing mine, you know, I didn't come out about mine as a kid until I was being pushed back into a situation, and I sort of screamed to go, no, you're not sending me there because this is what used to go on. So unless you've got proper evidence, there's nothing that these people can do. But all that stuff aside, one of the biggest things that's coming out this week now is the audit has been done on how much money is spent on adoption, how much money is spent on fostering, and how much money is spent on supporting families. So finally we get there. Finally people are starting to understand that because we had the likes of Grove and all of that, that they were leading adoption. Like, they were fucking leading it, man. Like, it was sabotage. This drive for adoption through this process was sabotage. Like, what's the word? Like a bull in a china shop stuff. So it is really starting to turn around. It is. I mean, I see everything, and I don't think you guys realise this. I mean, to you, I'm just a woman on crack book, but what you don't see is every day I'm chipping away, as well as dealing with the fact that, you know, my health had already got to a point where I had to change my indicative budget over. And no, I didn't call social services, Mum, so stop with your bullshit fucking lying. I even have the paperwork for the person that the phone call came through from, which was a woman called Kath Daly. So, yes. But this week, with watching, I've allowed my mum to go on, and I've allowed for other people to rip into it. And the reason that I've allowed for this to happen, because I can control it at any point. I can delete, block, and do whatever I want. I don't need to allow this stuff on there. I do it because I'm going to prove to you why this system goes so wrong. And it isn't some massive big conspiracy of these social workers wanting to take your children from you. And it isn't, well, actually, there is a percent of it that is doing this, but the majority of the percent of it is just genuinely really good people that just can't understand somebody's point of view. So, like, take today, I've been attacked again for this EDS and this roller skating, and this is why I started all this in the first place, right? Because one thing that's always annoyed me as I've been growing up is, one, I've always either faced, don't do that. I was just talking about living with EDS, not this whole video, but this particular thing. Or the other thing, or even the same with exposing anyone trying to rape or sexual abuse and all of that, or fighting or anything. If you bring any form of discontrol into a situation, it's drama. But with people who are overcoming challenges every day, take Lady Gaga for example. I mean, how many of you know that when Lady Gaga was filming that film, what is it, where she does that song, Shadows, I can't remember what the film's called, A Star is Born. How many people know that Lady Gaga had a miscarriage 3 days into filming and went back to work the next day? I mean, how many people know that Lady Gaga lives with fibromyalgia? Okay. Yes, she does sometimes talk about it. But are people meant to turn around and go, wow, Lady Gaga can't really be battling with all of this pain and all of these struggles because she's up on stage doing all of this stuff? She said in an interview once that the time it takes to muster up the energy to be able to perform can put her in bed for weeks. Sorry, I've just got to put my charger on, or my battery's going to go. And I had to get a new bloody charger yesterday, so I don't have that long one that I had before, which was really damn handy. So anyway, my point being, because I'm going off on tangent again, because obviously I'm still dealing with idiots, and they are idiots. They're low-level fucking fuckwit idiots. That's what they are. They're low-level fuckwits. I shouldn't say that. Praise them all and glory to the Lord and all of that. But, you know, they are. And the quicker that they give themselves that diagnosis, the quicker they can start healing. It's low-level nastiness, and it's really bad bullying. It's really, really bad bullying. And people don't know my relationship with my mum, and I'd be very careful ever slagging my mum off around me, because I love my mum. I adore my mum and my dad. It's just that at the end of the day, when all the police and social came in when I was a kid, after disclosing what happened, I have always said the way that it was dealt with ruined our family. And also when I was a kid with the other matter, again, all in my book, blah, blah, blah. I've already talked about this stuff on videos. This isn't what this particular video is about. But I'm at the end of the day, I'm not here to talk to you. I'm here to leave myself a diary, because literally I have all of these transcribed, and I'm going to go through it all. And it's my way of healing. It's my way of coping. It's my way. I won't reach out to you guys anymore, by the way. I will come on here after I've overcome it now. I used to come on here when things were really, really, really difficult. Like yesterday, I could have probably have done with literally just laying here going, shit, I'm in the nothing, mate. I can't get through it. The depression's hit me too much. I'm exhausted. And I could have really done with coming into this space and going, hey guys, come on, like, I really need my ass kicked right now. I've got to get down to Victorious. You know, I've got to go and do this live. I've got the boys with me. I'm going to have these struggles today. I'm feeling really overwhelmed about it. And I should have been able to have come into my space, because this is my space, not yours. It's mine. Yeah, mine. Yes, it's Facebook, but this is my account, my space. This is a business page, not a personal page. This is a business page. It's mine. I control it. It's what I use it for. It's got intentions behind it. If people choose to be in this space, I hope it's because they're either here because they're getting to know me, starting to see things, understanding some of the story, quite interesting to see, you know, how maybe I pull through it. Is this woman going to commit suicide? Is she going to end up going and blowing Parliament up, you know, or is she going to end up getting married and riding off into the fucking sunset? Who knows? You know, somebody commented the other day, you know, this woman has got serious issues and she's going to implode at some point. Yeah, if I do, so what? So what? Try walking in my shoes. Try going through what I've been through and understand from this point of view. But tonight, somebody resonated with me on a level that, like, when I say about all these white feathers that keep appearing around me at the moment, the weirdest thing happened. You'd have to know Portsmouth and see some of my pictures and stuff of what I've been saying. So all the common was covered in all the cars today that led up to where the start of Victoria starts. And I was walking with Elijah and Shiloh, and obviously I have the buggy. I wasn't going to take the buggy because I thought one of the challenges that I have with festivals is if one kid runs in one direction and the other goes in the other, I have to leave the buggy. And sometimes it's easy to just throw one in the buggy while going and getting the other one. And yes, they have little straps on their things and stuff like that. What happened today was quite a strange experience because, one, it alerted me as well to how much trauma the police taking Elijah had actually caused Elijah. And we got to face this today. And also, today, I really took my power back with how I feel about the police having control over me, being able to section me, remove my children, assault me. And this experience today, after having 5-6 feathers thrown at me, where, like, I walked into a situation prior to these feathers knocking me, and they literally are. These feathers are throwing out at me at the moment. If I show, I put the picture up yesterday of going to this parking ticket and this bloody feather being attached to it, and then having a puncture and having a white feather right underneath my tyre. Like, seriously, you couldn't have, unless somebody is playing the fuck with me and going, right, I'm going to go and she's got a flat tyre, so I'm going to go and put this white feather right underneath her wheel. You know, the white feather was right underneath my wheel. So literally, we got out the car, made sure I had all of the juices and the snacks and the bins. So I've just been shopping. Shopping was in the car. And I'd planned to just teaser it, just test it, because I'm really nervous about going into this world, because I always used to go camping, and this is how I got into doing End It, because we were getting LZ7 to go to #1 in the charts for This Little Light of Mine, for End It, for raising funds and awareness for child trafficking. That's what I was doing. And, like, Aaron and Faith and Liam and Daniel have always grown up in the things that I do or stuff like that. My mum hasn't been in my life, by the way, so she doesn't know all this stuff. So when I used to do sort of all the fringe gigs for Preston, and I was like mentoring at the university and Unity in the community and stuff like that, all these events and stuff is just normal for me. It's just part of my normal day-to-day sort of stuff. You know, if there's a carnival on or a festival, this was in Portsmouth, Preston, sorry. So here in Portsmouth, if I wanted to dominate Portsmouth and make lots of money, I could. But it's like, even Dean fucking hates the place. The moment Dean gets off of the train or comes into this zone at all, the anger and pain and hurt that he has towards what Portsmouth did when we first got here, and also how it has sort of come around, because people don't know, whether you know little bits, but hello there, David. You don't see those little bits that come together. So when we first got to Portsmouth here, we had quite a solid plan on what we were doing. We had already, my mum was really good, you know. We went and met my mum for breakfast, because obviously I came here because my mum is here. I didn't come here for any other reason other than my mum. Afternoon, David, you're confusing me. That must mean you're not on UK time. And Deborah, I'm always okay. One thing that I'm learning through all of this is I will never, ever, ever achieve what I need to achieve if I allow for other people's dogma and thoughts and thinkings and opinions of me to get in my way. And I really enjoyed yesterday, believe it or not, because it gave me an opportunity to put my phone down, shut my computer, know full well it was all going on, and potter around my house and get some stuff done. That's really difficult to do when you know full well that you got a bunch of catty, slaggy women, and that's what these sort of people are. They're your scrappy, chavvy, and point your fingers and stuff, and they can be healed. they can go through rehabilitation, but bless them, unfortunately that's what happens when you don't get full education and don't have any articulation about yourself. And I'm not here to drag people down. I'm here to just sort of say that there are a lot of people in this world that don't like people happy, don't like people moving on with their lives, don't like to see people who can overcome situations that a lot of people can't overcome. And there are people who will always wait for an opportunity to hinder people. Now, what people don't understand, and why I talk about what I talk. One, I have a book coming out, 3 books coming out. Yes, I had these books in 2010. Well, in 2007. So David's been on the lives today. In fact, actually, I did catch a little bit of your live, but I didn't get a chance to watch it properly because I think I was in Asda at the time. I will do, and just please understand something. I'm just one person, and my time and my eyes are pretty much on the 2 little boys all the time. So unless Shiloh is asleep and Elijah is chilling doing something, or I've got a moment to do something, that's my time is majority on them. And that fucking mountain has been moved, and I'm going to be restarting that mountain again. And no, I was just reading a comment. Yeah, that just sorry, I was just reading a comment, but just to bring that back to it, and what Deborah's just being saying there. One thing I've always said is, if you can't help someone, don't hinder them. And I really believe in this philosophy. If you can't help somebody, you've got no reason to hinder them. I would love to see a world of people who raise people up, who understand the gaps between people's lives, who understand, like, I had a massive gap today, and I spoke to the guys at the festival about maybe next year making sure that we can bridge this gap for people like me and many others that, who have young children. I dare anybody to take 2 young children and walk through the middle of a festival and tell me that you're not going to be in high anxiety and that you could allow for your child to just completely just wander off. I couldn't just allow for my child to just go and think, it's all right, he'll return in 5-10 minutes. I don't know. It could be because of my trauma that I'm in much more high anxiety than a lot of people would be. But anyway, we'd been with the managers at the start, so we'd been with all of the the partners of the investors and who's in it, because I still have a really good reputation as Step Up Britain. Step Up Britain has never come back. This is the problem. I'm still here. It hasn't come back. There's a lot of people doing bits, but until I come back, until I step up Britain doesn't come back. And I've got rid of, I haven't got rid of everything, but I've got rid of a lot of it. I literally carry everything around with me in that little cupboard. So I even have the meetings that I had with job coaches or mentors or workers, or I have because when you go self-employed, you have to keep a diary of everything for your tax man thing. So every meeting, everything, and I have all of that and I'm so glad I do. And actually, even though I hadn't achieved the level that I needed to, like, people don't know how much organisation goes into wealth, to be responsible for the level of money that it takes to run the sort of events that I was getting to. Still learning the ropes, but to get to the big Step Up Britain one that was meant to be going boomph, it takes a lot of people to pull that off. One person can't do that. Even down at Victorious, they've probably got 500-600 staff down there, and for someone like me, that's you got to be responsible for them, their wages and everything, and that's a really difficult place to step into, like, really difficult place to know that you are responsible for people's food on their table tonight because they're coming to work for you, and you have to make sure that everybody is paid and everybody is leaving knowing that they turned up, they did the job that they were paid to do, they leave, they go home, and that's it. That takes horrendous responsibility, and I'm not there yet. And the reason that I'm not yet there yet is because me and Elijah and Shiloh, not so much Shiloh, but me and Elijah, are going through what would be labelled separation anxiety. And tonight, it really proved to me just how much trauma it has caused Elijah with what happened when Victorious was on 3 years ago. So let me just get to why tonight was so healing. You would have to understand what having Aaron and Faith taken and how they were taken. Like, literally, it was done within 2-3 minutes. So to go from being an EDS mother with slipped discs that was just struggling to bend over and making sure, like, I've put a post up today, by the way, because this was all it was ever about with me, was who took my kids if something happened to me. This is all it has ever been about, having an emergency plan in place. So my friend Melissa, sometimes you see that I post, and she's a personal friend, is Melissa. I've known Melissa for many, 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 many years. Melissa has 2 children with her over in America at the moment, and her family is here in the UK, and her oldest son is here in the UK as well. And Melissa had been posting about 2 days ago. She had horrendous pain in her belly, and that girl works every day. She has 2 kids. She works from home and works and all that. She works, like, she works. She lives in America, in Miami, and that girl works, and has some really cool, nice maternity payments as well, maintenance payments from a very rich and wealthy football player. But she got taken into hospital yesterday, and literally it was a mad rush, because what you've got to remember is, say somebody like me was at Victorious per se, and all of a sudden I just collapsed and dropped on the floor. How is anybody to know that I've got 2 children? So if I've just dropped on the floor, and unless my two children are huddling over me, how is anybody to know that there is two children with me? Say I'll go to cross the road. Car hits me. Okay, my two kids are going to probably be with me then. Or someone might realise, hang on, there's a double buggy. Yeah, there's one child here, where's the other one? So unless you've got it written down on your arm, going, my name is Kelly Cottam, I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and I have POTS, which is the tachycardia side of it. There are two children currently with me. In the event of anything happening to me, please make sure that Elijah, who's blonde, and Shiloh, who's got dark hair, are ascertained and found, because they're the children that are with me. The majority of people don't think this way. And even my friend got a bit of a wake-up call yesterday, because she got to learn you can't take kids into the ambulance. You're in hospital. As it was, appendix had ruptured. You've got to go for surgery, and there's no way out of this surgery, and someone's got to take your kids. And it's really, really, really difficult if you don't have a good, solid family support network. And what people have got to remember is a lot of people work. And this was what caused the problems with me as well. There was no issues between me and my family prior to all of this with Aaron and Faith being taken. It was just the fact that my family was down here and I was up north. If I had been down here, and that's what I'd been trying to do, was to move back down here to my family, so that in the event, if anything happened, I had my family around me. But the fact is, people can't just drop their jobs just like that and walk away and go, look, I've got an emergency, I've got to go. It doesn't always work like that. So at the end of the day, if you've got children and you're on your own, you have a duty and responsibility to protect and keep them kids safe. Of course you do. Like I said, I struggle being in a city. I have always managed to take... I didn't raise Liam and Daniel young on my own. It wasn't until they were 3 and 5, I think it was, 3 and 5. So obviously I've always had Liam and Daniel. And people don't realise as well, just being able to say, I'll just watch Elijah while I go and grab this. Yeah. Just what, I've just got to go pop to the car, just watch the kids. What if you can't say that to somebody? Or if you have no one to say that to, or you've been through such trauma that you don't know who to trust, and or people can say, oh well, then don't take the kids to festivals. Well, their dad is a performer. Yes, their dad is an artist and a performer. He's an MC. That's what he does. So therefore, they would grow up in that world. Elijah and Aaron and Faith, Liam and Daniel have always grown up in festivals. And the reason they grow up in festivals with me is because that's where the fundraising is done. That's how you make your money. That's how charities make their money. They put on events, they charge tickets, and they make a profit. That's how people like what would be for Families Reunited and forced adoption. That's how you fund things like that. That's how adopters fund things like that. In fact, the big adoption thing, they put a massive big concert on every year. What a crisis for homeless, they put a massive big concert on. That's how the money is made for the charities. So, it's just part of our lifestyle. But I've been really with my money situation right now, I'm in shit. Like I'm knee deep in shit, and unless I find a way out of it, it's tough shit. If this doesn't work for Dean, then the responsibility is going to be on me 100%. If Dean pulls this off, hallelujah, praise the Lord. But I don't think Dean is there in his healing just yet to pull it off just yet. Because at the end of the day, he's 42 and I'm 41. The majority of people who have been together, who build a home, who build the material stuff, who build a company together, it takes 10 20, 30 years to achieve that. People are asking me and Dean to come together like that, click and hallelujah, and everything's done over fucking night. No, no. And it's probably going to take us another 4, 5, 6 years until we could ever get to a point where we go, this is our home and this is it and this is in place. Tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow is another day, and tomorrow after that will be another today. Something might happen to me tomorrow that completely triggers me off and sets me back again. But tonight, it didn't. Tonight it was healing. Tonight it was beautiful. Tonight that look between me and that police officer was a beautiful healing. And this lad who was a forced adoption as well. So literally I'd come through where all the cars are, and the boys had been on because when they go and pick all the artists up, they have the little cars. So the boys had been on the cars and things and messing around with like the managers and stuff like that. So we'd gone round the other side and we were just coming up the back where like the press and the media and all that go in. So we had the main side. So, and then it's the run that goes down to the beach, but the road is actually closed, so there's no cars going backwards and forwards. And I always find it really difficult being on the common. I have to be in the middle of the common, so if the boys go, I've got time to make sure, because they are just 1 and 3, for God's sake, they're not like, sit, stay. They are pretty good, to be honest, but, this particular incident was different. And I was just coming around one of the main statues, and Elijah had already gone ahead of me, and Shiloh was just coming up behind me, and we were just coming where I needed to rein the kids in. So I told Elijah, stop, wait there, let your brother catch up. And Shiloh came around the corner, and then Elijah started coming back to me. So I could see Elijah just coming through the little bit to come back round to me. I can see him. And then 3 police officers literally walked down the side of us. And as I went like that to grab Shiloh's arm, or his hand, and went, Elijah, where's Elijah? Like, seriously, where is Elijah? I don't know what that boy did. There is no way that he could have moved out of sight. We have come up with a bit of a conclusion that he ducked down behind the wall and scurried and went up and went around. We have come to that conclusion that is what he did. 3 police officers coming down the side. No intrusion, nothing. It was just the fact that I had Shiloh and Elijah was coming back into my space, but it meant that he would have gone in front of the 3 police officers. So Elijah has decided not to do this and has backtracked and gone back. But in that time, he's hidden from the police officers. Wow, now we're talking about alarm bells, because I've literally stood up on the wall, I have looked. There is nowhere that child could have gone. There's nowhere. I had deliberately gone to a space that I knew that he couldn't. If he had gone left, I had a chance. If he had right, I had a chance. Gone left, there is no way. So then it got to the point where I'm thinking, shit, I got 3 police officers stood behind me and I've just lost my son. Then I'm getting to, where is my son? So it's a case of 2 directions to go in. And had he'd gone in one direction and I'd gone in the other, we could have ended up going around. And like, that boy hid. So I had no other choice but to turn to the police officers and say, can you please watch my son while I go and find my little boy? And then it went really, really, really quickly. And the police officers grabbed me and ran with me. And it was actually the security guy that picked up Shiloh and stayed with Shiloh. And I had 3 police officers. In fact, I had 5 police officers with me by the end of it. And they all took each corner to make sure that he hasn't. And I'd literally gone and stood up at the wall, double checked. And then just literally right in the corner, there was a group of people, and Elijah had darted and hid right behind one of the people, and he didn't come out until he saw me. And I got Elijah, and I come back. But, like, I mean, I don't know how long this lasts for, but when all the police come back with me, the relief on everybody was so real, like the relief. And also, I think the understanding that people had, because these people know me, okay? They know who I am, unfortunately, but they do. I think people had understood at that particular point the trauma that removing Elijah had caused Elijah in seeing them 3 police officers. And he'd bolted, he'd ran, and he'd gone and hid at the nearest point. He couldn't have got to me because he'd have had to have walked past them. So he went, and funny enough, I didn't see this until the end of it either. We have somebody who walks their dog out here, big drinker. And there's no way Elijah could have eyeballed this. And this is what I'm talking about, feathers and things coming out and weird circumstances and weird things happening. It just so happened to be that he had been watching Elijah the whole time. I didn't know he was there. I didn't know he'd seen him dart. He just didn't understand that obviously he could have just put his hand up and gone, he's here. He just assumed, she'll walk around the corner in a minute. He didn't realise he'd ran. So Elijah actually had gone to somebody who he knew how he was there at that particular point. Only the Lord will know. But anyway, literally as Elijah was found, one police officer just sort of went, but the other one, he came around the corner, and he just put his hand on my shoulder and just went like that. And it was like this. But then the 3 that were there, I don't know, this police officer just gave me this look, and people must have sensed the level of panic and fear in me at that particular point, and also that relief. But they just walked away. They didn't stop and ask me, well, I need to now make a report and blah, 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 and all this sort of stuff. They didn't do any of that. They just literally went and got on with their job and gave me the thumbs up. But this police officer just looked back at me, and for the first time, like, we really looked at each other, like real look at each other, and it was a real deeper communication than words, like really deep communication than words. But then all of a sudden I turned around, and all of a sudden somebody just thrown their arms around me and just given me this really, really, really big hug. And I just stood there for a bit, and I just got this most amazing, beautiful cuddle. And my kid's head scurried, and he's like, "You all right now?" He went, "I'm adopted." I said, "I'm adopted." I said, "I'm a forced adoption." And yeah, we had a bit of a conversation, and he's got 2 kids. He's getting married next year, but he doesn't want to go and meet his mum until he's got his whole life in order. He wants to be married. He wants to have his kids. He wants to, have all this stuff together. And I said, every single memory and moment that us mums ever want for our kids, they're the things that we live for, are them memories. And I did actually say, I hope you don't wait until you get married. I hope you invite her to your wedding. I hope you can have that. Like, we didn't really get to talk because obviously everybody was working, and it was quite a quick like, shit, you know, how this has happened, you know, right at this particular point. My worst fear is ever losing my kids at something like this. And lo and behold, I happened to do it just as 3 police officers, but I didn't actually lose him. My son had bolted. Like, yeah, to realise that significance of 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 what, you know, that did to him. But when I was talking to them, I had a bit of a chat later on, because we come back round the other side, and I ended up with, because obviously when you do these events, the most important area, unfortunately, is security and the police, because people drink, people take drugs, people get into fights, people do stuff, and, you know, everybody wants a nice, clean, lovely festival. Do you know what I mean? Nobody wants to have to shut it down, because at one of these sort of events, it only takes for one person to kick off, and it can cause like absolute fucking anarchy. So, and a lot of people were getting drunk and stuff, and it was like, so. But anyway, but yeah, the chances of that, that the one person who ended up like really helping me, and not even after that, like he stayed and he helped settle me and the kids and stuff like that. But the weirdest thing was, he said hopefully next year Dean will be on stage and you'll be on that side. He said, and we'll be able to watch the kids and it'll be a lot easier for you. And I thought, yeah, cool. That's good. That's good. Like, I mean, I get it. Dean's no reason to try here in Portsmouth. I was born here. It's a bit different. I do struggle with it here. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship. But if I'm going to heal anywhere, then I would rather heal in an area where people are getting to know me and they don't quite necessarily run with the red flag just because Kelly says, you know, I'm going to dangle you out the 17th floor or something, or I don't know, takes me literally, or I don't know. I mean, I really love being in that environment. I miss it. I don't understand why I have to live in this flat. I don't understand why I can't be with Dean with the kids travelling. You know, I don't understand why this forced living of that people are trying to force upon me, just because I don't agree. So yeah, so I have a bit of a feeling, because Elijah and Shiloh are quite, and they're not old enough. Then they're not old enough to be winging it while me and Dean try and get our careers back. Because, like I was talking to him tonight about it, and it was like, you know, on the first fucking day of Victorious, like they stuck us on a fucking CP meeting, and when Dean was going to go and do his festivals, they stuck us on a CP meeting, and you know, every time we were trying to move forward with something, they stuck a CP meeting on us. You know, and just as it gets to the point where, you know, we've healed, everything's closed, we've been off to Bulgaria, you know, even social were really rooting for us, you know. Lauren, our social worker back then, you know, she was like, yay, I can't wait, I'm getting tickets, you know, let us know as soon as Dean's on the lineup and all this sort of stuff. And, you know, we know Nick Courtney quite well now. He's been waiting for this moment too. And you know, even for the move in this place, like there's been 6 meetings already to move us. It's just that because I don't take drugs, because I don't have drinking issues, because I don't have, you know, okay, I have these diagnoses, but to everybody else, I can wipe my own ass, I can put a pizza in the oven, I can do basic things. You know, I can look after my kids. I'm not considered a high priority in order to be a high priority, you have to tell everybody your worst day. And I'm not willing to do that at the moment, because if I explain to people my worst day with my physical condition, take today, for example, like literally, me and the boys were literally laying down on the sofa. I had Shiloh at the bottom and he was asleep, and I had Elijah laying on me and he was asleep. But then, when we were all ready and Shiloh and Elijah had woken up, I went to move. And the moment I went to move, I couldn't. Like, literally, I couldn't move because my pelvis had slid and my hip had come out. So, if anybody's ever had slip discs, if you've had slip discs, you'll get it. If you've never slipped a disc, or if you've never had a dislocation, you will never understand this. If you've had a break, you might slightly get it, but a break is different. If you've got, like, literally, like, take your shoulder, like mine, yeah, you can hear mine, but if you literally pulled your joint out now and you separated your joint and you then try to sublux it, so which basically means like that's subluxed, that's in, out, in, out, in, out, okay? So basically all the tendons within my hip were out, in, out. So, and that's the same with the joints. So the hip socket was out. So, but if I write these things down, then someone like me who has a physical condition becomes a high risk, and then I'll get turned into being a criminal, and this is where it really annoys me. However, what I'm working towards right now is I'm working towards September, and the reason that I'm working towards September, and I do this every year, I work towards setting myself up for September every year, and the reason that I do that is because I'm the sort of person who progresses every year. So, like school, you go to the first year, go to second year, it's a progression. So you go to first year, so you make a decision to go to university, you go first year, second year, third year, then you go on to the next levels, blah, 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 blah. So I'm always trying to obtain to be better and master what it is and become the person who is the niche of that field. And for me, the field and the niche that I'm pushing for is this attribution. So I started off as an attribution specialist. So whether you looking at me can understand where I'm coming from. So I'm not talking about empathy or sympathy. I'm talking about, can you actually recall what I just said to you? So if you were a social worker now and you were having this conversation, could you sit here and watch this live with me and then go and write a report on what I've said without watching it back, without double checking a couple of things that I might have said? I mean, literally get off this live and try to write some form of notes and re-quote some of the things that I've said. I guarantee you, in fact, I might do it one day. I might actually do it as an experiment just to show you that it's not about people necessarily lying. It's not about people necessarily deliberately trying to put false information on you. It's like, take my mum as an example, right? My mum wrote on the quote yesterday on this thing. She went, your kids weren't kidnapped, you were the one who called social. And then everybody's looked like, put this shocked face on. So take that one sentence as well. Like this lad that I met tonight as well. He all he knows is his parents had learning difficulties. That's all he knows. He hasn't met her, blah, 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 blah. So I can't think where I was going, and I end up going on some fucking tangent and trying to work towards something. But anyway, I'm trying to work towards obtaining, and what I've always asked social every year, and is to make arrangements to meet with me for the 7th of September. And I always say the 7th of September because, and it would be nice to be a bit earlier. Usually I'm not here. I'm never here during school holidays. I'm never here during school holidays. The moment school holidays come in, unless Liam and Daniel were on holiday with Graham, I was out. That's it. Festival season, and and holidays, and that's it, gone. And we get prepared, ready for the kids going back to school in September. So with this situation with my mum saying I rang social, I have an indicative budget. So basically, I have awarded to me by the state what's called an indicative budget. So it's basically money that bridges the gaps and supports me as a person with a physical condition. And I can do and have whatever I want in terms of having my indicative budget set and changed. So basically, this country, as in the UK, will make sure that somebody like me, because my condition is deemed life expectancy shortened and clinical, what's the word, critical. So this country will always make sure that I can bridge those gaps. So when I was living in Leyland, one, I had an emergency plan in place. So in the event of, say, me going into hospital, which is what I'm talking about, this is emergency plan. This is what I was trying to get transferred over to Wrexham. So in the event of an emergency, we had a immediate instant plan for the first, say, hour or two. We had a 24-hour plan, 48-hour plan, 72 hours, 7 days, 14 days, and then needing to kick in to something a bit different after that. In order to be able to do this, my health visitor pulled what was called a Team Around the Child meeting. This was with Aaron and Faith. This was prior to me going to Leyland, to Flintshire. So basically, adult social care and children's social care, and children adult social care, unless you have a health visitor who understands Team Around the Child, because there's Team Around the Child, Children in Need, and Child Protection. It's just that a lot of health visitors won't take on the full responsibility of just being a Team Around the Child. So the child protection from me was, in the event of an emergency, the children basically are dependent on someone. So if I was having surgery, so just for prime example, as soon as I'd given birth to Aaron, within 6 weeks, I was having surgery to have piles removed. It's a normal thing that happens in pregnancy. 2 weeks after my stitches tore, I had to go back in and have my stitches redone. Don't forget, I've been through cervical cancer as well. I've had co-coagulation, stuff like that. I've had tubes up my bowels, tubes down my throats. For somebody like me with EDS, hospital appointments are very normal. I don't tend to get involved or go now because of what's happened, and since Professor Bird has retired. They called me entitlement, because I said I need specialist medicals, not just normal GPs. I need specialists, which is true. I have a specialised condition, therefore I need specialists. Anyway, I'm starting to ramble. But at the end, these are my diaries. They're not here for me to perform. I'm not performing to you. This is my diary. This is my night diary of me doing what Facebook asks, and that is what is on my mind. This is what is on my mind. This is what bugs me every day. This is what annoys me about not having the correct support systems in place. But just because somebody doesn't have a support system, that doesn't mean that you should be able to go, well, I tell you what, we're going to go and buy a support system by putting your children into foster care. But there should be no reason why somebody like me can't have a relationship with a respite foster carer. Why can't somebody like me? Look, my mum lives literally a mile down the fucking road, right? My mum could easily come and give me a hand with my kids. We don't have that relationship. That's not my fault. I am the daughter. In fact, I think a good friend of mine who made. I have to be careful because my actual personal friends don't actually put their real name on their accounts. Um, I think the majority of my actual friends know where I'm going in my life. And I think what they don't want to be in a situation with is that what happens is when people connect to somebody, like I will be very wealthy. Um, I am very wealthy. It's just that I haven't put my paperwork in order, and that's what I need to do. And I am the sort of people, and I think because my friends know this, my friends know that I'm the sort of person that would feed the world. Um, you know, I want to make sure everybody's got the equipment and tools that they need because it's like with Dean right now, if I could literally go and he doesn't want to work with other people in their studio. He wants to be in his studio and left alone to do what he needs to do. If I could literally go out and put this studio that he needs in here, um, and provide him with what he needs, he would be able to do that. And don't have a go at him as well because he's an autistic. Whether he's now starting to realise that he's more than a label, but at the end of the day, he's autistic. Dean was diagnosed at 14 with autism, so and he is dyslexic. And if people want to downplay that because he's dyslexic, then you're just nasty bullies. Why would you want to do that? Would you do it to a child? So why would you do it to an adult? This is what annoys me. It's like, I have EDS, but so do my kids. So are you going to turn around to my son Elijah, Shiloh, and say Shiloh doesn't have these struggles and Shiloh doesn't have EDS because he roller skates and he skateboards? No, I'm going to raise Shiloh to remind Shiloh that he's going to fall down. He's going to get hurt. He's going to get injured. He might sprain his wrist. He might bust his ankle. He might twist his knee. He might even break his thumb. But he's going to get back up and he's going to heal and he's going to go for it again. Because I'm not like some of you people here that want to tell me that I shouldn't dance or I shouldn't, roller skate. What you should be saying is, Kelly, I'm going to be one of the first people, darling, that sit in the front row when you finally achieve this. And if I will need to be the person there on a daily basis every day for you to stretch your leg out so you can make sure that hip starts working, I'll be there every day. My mate Jake, he knows the challenges I'm facing. If he really cared, he'd be going, right, we need to be making sure you're doing this every day. That to do what I need to achieve is going to take a lot of training, a lot of discipline. But the chances are I may never achieve it. But when I stepped in that environment today, I felt like I was home. I felt like even the first thing Elijah said to me was, "We're going dancing, Mum." And he's going, "Robot dance. Let's do the robot dance." So, and my boys really buzz. Boys really buzz in that environment. Like, you can tell, you can tell that lifestyle is very natural for them. Very, 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 very natural. Very natural. Being in that sort of, I don't know, entertainment, I suppose, bringing joy to people, bringing laughter to people, seeing people laugh and have fun and enjoy themselves. These events aren't quite like that. But, when Step Ups was created, um, it wasn't just about it being a music festival. It was a healing festival. And no, it wasn't any of this, like, health, wealth, and well-being sort of stuff that you will see. It went way beyond that. This was making sure that a lot of people from some really challenging places ended up being where they wanted to be. Like, You know, we're a 13-year-old lad today playing his guitar at the festival. You know, this Victoria Festival is starting to become now an opportunity. They're starting to realise that they don't need to be getting big artists in to make this happen. Actually, we've got a lot of budding artists here. They're, some of them are foster care kids. Some of them are homeless on the streets. Some of them might be your local postman or your builder or your police officer, just might actually have a hidden talent and passion that he doesn't tell anybody about. And in fact, the chief executive of the council might actually just happen to be the ultimate baritone singer. Do you know what I mean? And I just think, I don't know, I just think that it's a really beautiful time at the moment. And even though it doesn't necessarily feel like that to me right now, as in, I'm probably at my most isolated right now. I'm probably at my most loneliest. I don't have my mum. I don't have my dad, my brothers and sisters. I don't have my family around me. My best friend lives in Miami. My other friend lives in Australia. You know, most of the people that are my colleagues and work people are off traveling the world. Literally, that's what they do. And I've been in this void since literally, you know, taking that leap of faith in 2011 and going self-employed and becoming a working mum. And you know, and I had childcare, I had nursery. You know, Aaron and Faith, you know, they had a lovely nursery and a lovely childminder. Yes, I had Liam and Daniel as well, but I certainly didn't put the responsibility onto Liam and Daniel. They helped, of course they did. They were around, but it was their brother and sister. They were being brothers and sisters. It was just literally, I had a gap of needing 2 years books. That was it. That was all the problem was. 2 years books and an emergency plan. And one of the challenges with someone like me with living with EDS is I'll at least give it a go, where the majority of people won't because they know it's not worth it, where I can't live like that. In fact, because I know my body is shorter and because I know my life is shorter, it makes me want to do things more. It makes me, like, I had what was called a bucket list. I don't call it a bucket list, I call it a life memory list. And, you know, different things, like I went to Egypt and we went to the pyramids because we wanted to go to the 7 wonders of the world. The next one was going to be walking the Great Wall of China, and I wanted to go to the Gate of Heaven, which is in China. And for Liam, it was something in playing mahjong in Japan. And obviously the other one, we were doing Fast and Furious 7. So that was literally like Jesse and Paul were in London, and literally I was just arriving in London. No, I was in Guildford at the time. I was just leaving Guildford to go to meet them all down at London Docks. And Jesse is Paul Walker's best friend, and Jesse who I did the started all this challenge stuff with. So in order for me to come off DLA, what I did was I challenged myself to walk 1 billion steps. So I had a pedometer around my ankle, and between a load of us, we had to achieve 1 billion steps. And I wanted to do enough steps that took me over the threshold for how many steps can you walk without severe discomfort and deterioration, as the benefit system asks you on your DLA. I wanted to smash it. In fact, at the UPW, I think it was actually 2012 UPW, it might have been 2011 one, but I did. I knocked it off my bloody foot and lost it, and I was so annoyed, so annoyed. But yeah, that was literally when Social rang me and said, "We've been told that you're homeless, and you know you're living in a car with your kids." So it's what makes me think it was my mum that made the call. You know, I was. My mum posted. My mum posted on my crack book yesterday. She went, "And you hadn't set up a business. How you were just paying for it out of your benefit money." Mother, how the fuck do you pay for a penthouse fucking suite of benefit money? Like, seriously, how the fuck do you put yourself into the Ramada Hotel suite of benefit money? No, mum. No. And in fact, actually, after Aaron and Faith were taken, I was on zero income. But no. I had only just started to understand and get the affiliate links working. Started with a lot of payday loans, leveraging, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I'm going to bust through this. I don't know what it is holding me back. I don't know what it is. I said in 2010 I was going to get to the core of me and the core of the biggest problem in the UK. And, you know, and I wanted to rip them roots. That was it. To work on myself, because everything starts with ourselves. Everything always does. You know, it doesn't matter what consequence you're facing on somebody else. If you don't take responsibility of holding them accountable, then it's your own fault as well. So, you know, if I don't go and take the universal credits accountable for illegally kicking me off and causing, you know, what I'm going through at the moment, and I can claim this back. It was an illegal kickoff of income support. It was false information, and you know, forced us to free fall, caused, you know, for things to get out of control, and has caused for all of these overpayments and to be taken out. That if I'd been put over normally, I wouldn't be facing this. In fact, I think I got 880 this month. I should be on 1122, I think it is. So that's about nearly £400 a month missing, and that's without. That's including the fact that obviously I've cut, and I have no disability component. Blah blah blah. I am just a mother with under 2-year-olds. So every mother in the world, so not benefit scrounger, every mother in the UK is allowed to remain breastfeeding their children and being with their children until they are 2. I am being a mother. The government pays me to be a mother. And that would be no different, you know, and if Dean makes it to what Dean is doing. So seriously, I wouldn't freaking battle that man. I really wouldn't, because one day you're going to be looking at him going, shit, we never believed in you. We trolled you. We pulled you down. You wonder why people like me and Dean have so many people coming out trying to make false accusations about us or trying to do something. Any person who is willing to bust through that comfort zone from where they are to where they want to be and break through those limitations is going to face it. You've got to get through so many people's opinions to achieve a goal anyway. You know, if trust me, have a dream, have an aspiration about something that you want to go and do, and go and talk to your friends about it tomorrow and see what they tell you. Let's see how many people are walking you down to the bank and getting business loans and, you know, putting all their time and effort into supporting you or trying to tell you how you can't do it. The majority of people will tell you you can't achieve that. You know, my mum says that I can't build my own home. Well, yes, I can. Well, I can't physically build my own home. Well, I could do. I could do that with a team of people. But, you know, that's somebody who's you have to buy a home. Yeah. Well, my dad's a builder. So I grew up with learning that you build homes, not that you buy homes, you build homes. So, you know, again, it's all coming down to our belief systems. And when I first started really, really seriously working on my belief systems, which was in 2007. That's when I really went big on like, wow, I've had this disabled label on me, and the power of that, by being classed as disabled, what that was physically doing to the energy around me, what that was physically doing to me as well as a person, and why I felt that I had to get rid of that word away from me. Like, even now, I don't want a disabled parking space. I want an enabled. I don't want a disabled space. I don't want anybody to tell me that, I'm disabled. I that brings so much horribleness to me. Fear. That word just says I can't do things, and I'm an offcast, and I should be written off from life, and I should be hidden away because, hey, I can't give any input in society. I have nothing to give because I'm disabled. You know what I mean? Well, that's not true. I have a lot to give, a lot to give. I have a lot of experience, a lot of talents, a lot of skills. I'm a very kind, loving, compassionate person. I have a lot of talents. It's just that, mine are built up in, like, I want to be like this with Dean every day. Like, practice, practice, practice. Get up, get in, practices, having a routine, practice, performing, perfecting, getting things to that next level. You know, there's no different at Victorious at the moment. There's no difference between the person on the stage to the guest attending to the people on security to the people who are heading the VIP room to the people who are in the VIP room and to the people that are in the commons. In fact, even at Victorious, they have got the common stage and the doodah stage, because at the end of the day, you know, for, I don't know how much it's cost them for Rudimental to be there tonight, but I will know on Tuesday. I'm meeting up with the guys to go through exactly how much the event costs, because they're gonna help me understand everything that I'm gonna need to pull this tour off. Dean's having to tour on fucking foot with nothing. Do you know what I mean? He's got no PR team. He's got no van. He's got no tour stuff. He's got no sound equipment. He just has his voice, his talents, his spray cans, and and giving it as good as he can go for it. And I'm the same. I'm trying to get a story out there. I'm trying to get a message out there. I'm trying to get this whole thing out there to sort of say to people that, look, we've been through this conditioning, programming per se, and this programming has been led by people who are not so good, who are trying to confuse people about their gender, sexuality, the age of sexual consent, and it's because they don't have good intentions. They really don't have good intentions for our youth, for our children. And the 99% of us are good people, and we really do need to push it out. Look, love it, fucking love it. That's my life. That's what I'm like. It's just that this damn hip of mine will just not let me. That it won't. My hip. This is the problem that I've got. My hip will not let me pull in. And when you're a ballet dancer, there are certain positions that you have to, even if you're doing contemporary, there are certain positions and points that you have to meet. And if you don't, then you're not a contemporary ballet dancer. You're a contemporary dancer. And a lot of other stuff as well. And without having proper physios, trainers, and all of that. But the thing is, someone like me has never peaked their point. Do you know what I mean? And I'm 41 now. And it's like, if I don't break through soon, if I don't step into my, true self soon, some people say if you haven't done it by 35, you never will do. And I don't believe that. I don't I don't believe. In fact, I was talking to the managers today, and I said, like, they're all old, you know. So all these people who say that these young ones are coming in and taking jobs, and you know, even my mum said it to Dean. My mum said, "Who wants to see a 40-year-old man?" That was at that time. Who wants to see a 40-year-old man dancing? Dean is one of the world's greatest fucking slow down doodah dancers ever you have ever seen. He has me in awe. Like, I can watch him dance all day. I could look, see, that's what I want to be doing every day. And there is no reason why my kids can't grow up in that world. There's no reason why Elijah and Shiloh can't be doing photo shoots and doing some of their bits. You know, the amount of people who commented to me today on Elijah, you know, Elijah's been running up the front. He's been going on the little car with, you know, when they go and pick the bands up and transfer the bands between it. You know, they've been hopping Elijah on with them, and, you know, so I don't. But the difference is if I go into work for someone, I have to live by somebody's rules. Whereas if I do it self-employed, then I live by my own rules. So if I have a dodgy hip, I have a dodgy hip. I don't have to convince my boss that I have a dodgy hip. I don't have to convince my work colleagues that I need to work at a different level, and I haven't got people having a go at me. If it takes me longer to produce something, it's like when we went up to Snowdon, right? It took me 8 hours, mate. It took some people 92 fucking minutes, right? It took me 4 hours up and 4 hours down. And I don't care. I don't care how long it took me. The fact is, I got to the fucking top. And there were times in it that I didn't think I was going to. And the really strange thing about it, on when we went up Snowdon, this is before Aaron and Faith were taken. This was all part of what was going on with Challenge Britain. And, you know, I was at one point going up Snowdon where I thought, I can't do this. Like, there is not a cat in hell. My legs were burning, my knees were playing up, my ankles were playing up. You know, I hadn't ever realised the amount of going up over bricks and stuff would do on my legs. And I certainly didn't choose the easy route up either. I decided to go the fucking champion route up. But the really strange thing about it is, all of a sudden, this man shooting down the hill with his sticks and everything, as if he's just done it as a breeze, only turned out to be my cousin's half brother. And he's like, you know, chatting to my auntie, oh, hello, and, you know, and then he stops with me and he goes and hands me these nuts and this stuff that he has because he's a pro at it, and let me take his sticks and went, now go, you know. And he gave me a couple of different little pointers on the best ways to put your feet as you're sort of going up on stuff, because it stops the burning of your doodah things. So anyway, my point is, I started all of this in 2010. And the reason that I took my ideas and my concepts to Success Resources and pitched to the people that I pitched to was because I was in the benefits system as a mother who's just gone self-employed, and I needed 24 million in order to put the infrastructures and everything in place to produce what people are starting to know as Startup Britain, and they're going to step up. But it was all part of Step Up Britain. And what Step Up Britain was a concept. Now, I am the voice. I will lead, not follow. I'll create, not doubt. I will believe. I'm the force of good. I'm the force of God. I defy the odds. I step up. It was about setting a new standard for everybody. One of the big things that I was pushing was for minimum wage to be £10 an hour. Standard. It doesn't matter who you are, what it's about. £10 an hour. That's it. And Anyway, my head's going off onto different points and different tangents and stuff like that. But this week, I need to really clear some incompletes. One of them is that has just been put back in my living room. So literally tonight, we have emptied all of the boxes, all of the bags, and we've just thrown it all the way back in the living room. And literally, I'm going to get off from here now. I'm going to put a film on and I'm going to start it. It's not going to be easy. Something like that can cause my shoulder and my wrist to potentially have up to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, maybe even more. Probably, my wrist will probably go on probably every 3 or 4 ones. And then, of course, if you're sitting down on the floor as you're doing it, when you turn, yeah, so you'd have to, if you really, really wanted to understand EDS and how it affects, like even then, from turning to there to turning to there, you know, that I've just caused so much pain in my neck, and my headaches are playing me up the wall anyway. I mean, I've struggled today. Like, this is why I want to be self-employed. This is why I want to be in control of my own company, because I need my staff around me to get it, to understand, to get it, completely get it. You know, they will all be told, it will be explained to every person who works with me that this is the thing, and that's what they will be there to do. Because at the end, like Victorious, you know, okay, that's council run. It's different. All the money goes back to the council for that one. But when it's somebody's baby, somebody's business, like a lot of all my festivals are all alcohol, drug free. Like, that's the whole point. You're meant to be in spirit, in true spirit. To smoke a joint or to take a pill or to drink a drink, even one drink, it will invoke that, revoke that the spirit just goes, fuck that shit, I'm out of here. The whole point to the sorts of music that we engage in is all to do with changing your vibration, changing your states, changing your algorithms per se. Because before I go, and you can look into it yourself and do your own research. And I was talking today about white feathers being thrown at me all day today. In fact, the last sort of 2-3 days, I have literally, like, craziness. Like, with in fact, if I stood up now, I guarantee you, within the next 2 or 3 minutes, there'll be a fucking white feather somewhere, and it will just pop at me somewhere. And so if you do your research, it means guardian angels are letting you know that, you know, to have some faith in this particular point, and to keep pushing through, to keep going, because it's so easy to doubt. Like, even with Dean now, what, you really think having no phone and internet and no communication with somebody means that you're not connected? Me and Dean are connected for life. People can do what they want. I've even got people on my social media who go to follow his. I mean, like, to people not even ask how sad it is that people will connect up to my son, my mum, and all that stuff. Like, really? Like, why? Like, can I come and talk to your mum and your brothers and your sisters? You know, if we were gelling and coming together as friends and stuff, that would be cool. But this is social media. This is somebody who's using social media to grow, to build something. You know, and the reason and the point that I really want to get to is how people come forward to talk about their problems, and what they're struggling with, because somebody in it can't always see what they're going through. Sometimes it takes for people around people to sort of go, like even my mum, you know, if my mum really wanted to help, the best thing my mum could do right now is go out shopping with me. You know, let's go around the charity shops and find my work shoes and my clothes and the stuff that I'm going to wear. Because don't forget, you know, I came here with nothing and I've been pregnant ever since, you know, getting little bits and stuff like that. you know, I'm grateful for the benefit system, of course, but I am at the bottom of the bottom of the bottom of it all. I am at the bottom. I'm not sitting on disability. I don't have Motability. I'm not on sick. I have my sick form now, but I'm not on benefits sick. I am on the basic. In fact, I'm getting 92 quid a month, pretty much, with the deductions out of it. That's pretty much what I'm living on. 90 quid a month. Yeah. And then, you know, my kids component goes to the kids. But me as an individual, I live off 90 quid a month. That's got to pay for washing my hair. And my rent isn't fully covered. Like, so I get charged service charges, so I got to pay that out of that. I got to pay my council tax out of that. I got to run my car out of that. So yeah. Anyway, I'm diaried enough. Nobody needs to sit here. I'm not doing this for anybody else. This is just my evening diaries. If people take stuff from this, they do. If people want to shit all over it, then they will do. And the more people, the haters and the trolls, the stronger I get. And the day it doesn't hurt me the way that it used to. I mean, people like last night would cause somebody like me to take their own life. So I do think I can't wait. I can't wait to face the people at the end. I can't wait until my book's done. I really can't. I'm looking forward to the freedom. It's the freedom. It's the freedom I can't wait for. I don't have to carry this shit around in my head all the time. I haven't got to try and remember dates and times and, you know, when did this happen? When did that happen? You know, people coming in with little pieces of information, and it's like, so now it will literally, I can't wait. I can't wait. This whole social media will just turn into the promotion of the book, and that's it. And I will ask questions. It'll all just be written up. Oh, that's it. Done. Dusted. Gone. I don't ever have to explain to anybody ever again how Aaron and Faith were taken, because it will all be, the paperwork will be in the book. The exact lead up will be in the book, the step by step. The reason that I log myself on Facebook all the time is so when I come to completing the book, I can literally sit down and go, oh, okay, so Thursday the 17th, I was at so-and-so, right, boom, 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 boom. I do it on purpose. I do it from morning, noon and night. The whole point of my crack book for me is I'm trying to get myself back into a routine, into an order. I'm trying to get back to Kelly, who is sunrise, sunset, and memories in the middle. And that is what my social media is about. Step Up Britain is about you guys. That's the project. Step Up Britain was you. For me, it's sunrise, sunset, and memories in the middle. But in order for me to take a photograph of sunrise, I have to be up at sunrise. And that isn't happening at the moment. But I'm working towards that. Or I have a really good camera that prepares it. Or I just set up other people's and use other people's. It doesn't really matter. But for me, every day is a new day. So people will be reading or watching this tomorrow. It's done for me. When I wake up in the morning, I start a whole new day. I start a whole new chapter. I may start struggling. I may wake up to it being completely and utterly pissed down and raining, and I just, I don't know, go and sit in the Queen's Hotel or something and go and chat to a few people, or, you know, go down to Hilton, because there'll be a load of them down in the Hilton, and I'll go and chat to them there. I'm a networker. It's what I do. I love to network. For me, it's the crunching of figures. It's the crunching of the money. That's where I lack. That's where I come down. It's charging for my time, because I love what I do so much. I love breaking through. I don't necessarily see where actually somebody is meant to be paying for my time. Somebody is meant to be paying for my product, for my information. In fact, I give you information that costs people 7 or 8 grand to attend an event to get that information. You won't find it online. no coaches will tell you directly all the information that I give you because it's worth too much money. Why would they want to give you that information for free when you will attend and go and pay and, or read their books and stuff like that? So, why would anybody? I, I, I just knew that people from homelessness and the benefit system and stuff like that were never going to be given this information. It was never going to happen. Um, you know, government and school is not going to come to you and go, look, we've been feeding you this lie that you got to get this job and you got to go and do this, and we've spun you a fucking yarn for years, and we've been trying to make you feel really bad about, other people in third world countries and that are really struggling. We're the new third world country, by the way, nearly. Like, you know, Africa's a beautiful place. Beautiful place. Wealth galore. It's just that there's a couple of little areas that are still building, and we, the Muppets over here, get told that there's all this stuff going on, even with the wars, some shit going on, but it's not. We've been blinded. Had blinkers. We've had blinkers just completely put on us that we can't be, just be. That we have to, either not have this life. Most of the majority of people on benefits, and I've been in that situation, who don't go to college, who just get up every day. That is one of the worst hells to ever be in. To have no purpose, no vision, no sense of realness, to have no value, no significance. I'm not surprised people are depressed and suicidal and battling and labelled and stuff, because at the end of the day, what are you doing with your life? Nothing. When you leave this planet, when you go to the gates, you're going to be judged by things that it's not going to be about what car you drove, what house you had, whether you were on benefits, whether you were wealthy. It's not going to be about any of that. It's going to be, he's going to say, I gave you a vision. I gave you gifts. I gave you tools. What did you do with them? Well, the majority of people haven't even discovered them yet. They're 40, 50, 60, and they're still trying to discover what their assets are and what their gifts to this world is. Most people have never even asked themselves, who am I? Who am I here to serve? And why? Most people have never even got to the point where they've even gone, what a world we live in. Tell you what. God, tell you what. I got what, 30, 40, 70, 80, 90 years on this planet. Cool, that's not long really. Not in comparison to this whole world and what there is that we can do. We can put a man in a shuttle and send him out into the universe. We can precisely freaking, I don't know about this whole putting people on the moon stuff, but we can fly an aeroplane from Heathrow Airport and land it in Tobago or in Barbados or in Spain or Florida, and I can literally, I can't teleport. Maybe we can, I don't know. I haven't advanced to that, and maybe if I continue to work on myself, and I can continue to work on some of my kinetic tools and continue to keep my because I was also jabbed, so I've got to do the decalcifying that most people don't. I want to be in the studio all day. I want my own studio. I do. Just think it's one of the most beautiful, amazing, great ways to just express yourself. Unfortunately for me, dancing has never been about performing. I've never had any aspirations to perform. Um, I still don't, per se, but I have aspirations to help other people to achieve that. Um, I think the EDS side of me is going to prevent me. I don't know, but I'm going to damn get up every day and hopefully by the end of the day finish the day on my roller skates. Um, if I could get up and train on my roller skates and go for it every day, flipping and dancing to put on a performance on my roller skates, then so be it. So I'm not interested in the people who want to troll me and tell me what I can and can't do, or what I can talk about, what I can say, what I shouldn't say, what I can't talk about. And then exactly the same to my mum and my dad. I love my mum and my dad, but I don't respect the fact that they want to put the light out of their daughter. You know, they've got a daughter who has a brilliant light. It can shine. That if I actually had my parents stood next to me, I wouldn't have gone through hardly any of the battles that I have done anyway. I wouldn't have lost my kids. You know, I wouldn't have felt the loneliness of hemorrhaging and having just my pastor sat next to me while I'm having a transfusion, and feeling that I am 100% an inconvenience to my family. I am 100% a not wanted product. Unfortunately, or fortunately for me, I am here. And for the rest of the world, that's a really good thing, because you know, the Lord has decided that I am to achieve something that makes a massive big difference to billions of people's lives, and he's given me the responsibility to do that. And I wake up every day to serve everybody, and yes, I have my own struggles.